Alright, so I've already given my 2 cents on Pokemon as a concept. Today, I'm going to continue this series on Pokemon by giving my 2 cents on the Pokemon anime, the most well-known aspect of Pokemon aside from the Pokemon games. The Pokemon anime has permeated entertainment throughout most of the planet. And while I did watch it and really like it as a kid, I have very mixed feelings about it now, and that's primarily what I'm going to focus on in this video. A lot of what I'm going to say in this video is going to be very odd, considering I'm someone who's gone on the record in my Yu-Gi-Oh! Reviews saying that I despise 4Kids entertainment. I have a problem with the way that they radically changed the tone of products that they imported to America, over-localizing them and dumbing them down for a younger audience than what they were intended. Yes, I fully understand that the heavy localization of some of these Japanese products has led to their enduring success worldwide today, that shows like Yu-Gi-Oh! For example, probably would not be nearly as popular if they hadn't become so popular here in America, and that 4Kids Entertainment is responsible for that. That while they do dumb down anime, they also create gateway anime that future hardcore anime fans can use to get them interested in the genre. And I don't have any problem with that specifically. My main problem with 4Kids is that they do this with no intention of ever bringing over a more tonally consistent, more mature version of the same product, and they tend to bar other companies from doing so instead. They're also responsible for the One Piece rap, which...
Here's how the story goes. We find out about a treasure in the Grand Line. There's no doubt. The pirate whose eye is on it, he'll sing, I'll be king of the pirates. I'm gonna be king.
You know, I don't even think I need to explain myself on this one. Y'all get it. Point being, as someone who feels the way I do about 4Kids Entertainment, it's gonna be odd for me to say I actually prefer the American version of the Pokemon anime to the Japanese version. Specifically, the portions of it produced by 4Kids Entertainment. Once Pokemon Company International took over dubbing it, I think it got really bad. In fact, I think the Pokemon anime overall is pretty bad. The characters in it have character, sure, but they tend to be pretty generic, especially compared to other popular anime characters. Ash himself, or Satoshi, named after the original creator of Pokemon, if you remember from my last video on this subject, he is a character such that you're supposed to be able to project yourself onto him and live vicariously, live his adventure vicariously for yourself. And because of that, he doesn't have a whole lot of personality of his own, or at least not anymore. He did at first, but even then, most of the unique personality traits that he had were introduced by 4Kids. In fact, a lot of the most iconic aspects of the Pokemon anime, a lot of things that have become really popular about it worldwide, exist because of the influence of 4Kids. The Team Rocket motto, the various musical tracks that used to cap the end of episodes, the Poke-Rap, the original American theme song, are all original creations of 4Kids. They injected their 4Kids style of humor, and it actually worked in this show. I don't think it works in something like Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the tone of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is so radically different that even when they try to change the tone as much as they did, it still ends up clashing. But for something like Pokemon, which is basically a blank slate, adding in their silly 4Kids style humor actually works for me. And so now suddenly, even though Ash is kind of a blank slate and he's not all that interesting to watch, I'm perfectly okay with sitting there every week, living vicariously through him, experiencing his adventure vicariously through him. It works for me, and in fact, I can still go back and watch early seasons of the dubbed version of the Pokemon anime right now and get some enjoyment out of it, despite the show's many flaws. Animation early on was very stilted, the show didn't have much of a budget to work with, and that genuinely shows from episode to episode. They tended to do the same kinds of repetitive things over and over again. Stock footage was used pretty regularly. There would be an overabundance of still frame characters with only a few body parts moving to create the illusion that they were doing something. A little bit more money was thankfully put into the animation of the Pokemon. But still, Pokemon is not a show which, early on, you could say had good animation. It improved later on, but early on especially, it was pretty bad. But it was serviceable. It did the job. And if you happen to find the main character somewhat boring, he had interesting friends. Misty, specifically early on, is, I think, one of the best female characters in a kid-oriented anime ever. She has a very strong personality, she's very passionate about stuff. She can clash with Ash a lot, but she's also a strong, supportive friend and has some interesting arcs. It's interesting because I actually think most of the flaws with both versions of the anime are squarely the fault of the original production companies on the original version. I'm not the kind of person to stop watching a show because I've outgrown the target demographic age. And yet Pokemon is a show that I eventually stopped watching. There's a moment when the tone of the show changes, the core show, the original Japanese show. It's the moment when the show stops being about growing, changing characters on a journey and starts being repetitive schlock. And it's right around the time that Misty got Togepi. Suddenly, Misty's character is a lot more reserved. She's relegated to the background a lot more than she used to be. And while Ash still claims that he wants to be the very best, that he wants to be a Pokemon master, whatever exactly that means, it seems as if it's no longer the destination that matters to these characters, that they're just content continuing on the same journey for the rest of their existence. They no longer feel like they're going through arcs. They just feel like they're dancing the same dance week after week, season after season, region after region. This all stems from some creative choices made by the original producers of the show that I think were some major mistakes. They decided that not only was Ash going to remain the protagonist of the show indefinitely, but he was not going to age. I've also heard, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I've also heard that they specifically neutered Misty's character so that she would stop stealing focus away from Ash. Claims were made that these choices were made because Ash is a recognizable character. He's the face of the brand, so to speak, and they don't want to risk the brand by changing that. But as far as I'm concerned, that's absolutely ludicrous. First of all, Pikachu's the face of the brand, not Ash. Nobody actually cares about Ash. And second of all, Pokemon at this point was already a well-established brand. Swapping protagonists and making Ash a recurring character would not have changed that. In fact, it would have created a better bridge between the games and the anime. Switching to a protagonist who more resembled the protagonist of each game would have actually boosted sales, and brought fans who had given up on the anime back to the anime, at least to see what was going on with this new character. 4Kids kept producing the anime for a while after these decisions were made, but eventually it reached the point where even they couldn't break up the monotony of the show. And then, after Pokemon Company International bought dubbing rights back from them, or the dubbing rights defaulted back to them, I don't really know exactly what happens, but after Pokemon Company International got the dubbing rights to the Pokemon anime, it just got worse. They tried to make it more true to the original, and as I've already said, I think the original's kind of a dud. The new season, Sun and Moon, seems to be at least trying to give characters arcs again, though not Ash. It's always other characters now who get arcs, and Ash always stays the same. But at least they seem like they're trying, and the animation has really taken a step up, though I think the new character designs, I think that specific aspect of the animation is absolutely atrocious. But the animation itself has improved a lot. There have been some really good moments in Sun and Moon. I've actually been following it. I've actually watched a few episodes. It's not terrible, but it's still not a good show. Overall, the Pokemon anime, I think, is one of the longest running disappointments of my life. Much better shows deserve the staying power that this show has, and they don't get it. It is a mediocre anime that is leeching off of the success of the franchise overall, and I think it should die. I honestly think the Pokemon anime should end. That isn't to say that I don't think another anime could take its place. I just think this version of it needs to end. But honestly, it probably never will. As long as Pokemon remains popular, I imagine the anime is gonna stick around, for better or for worse. And it's not as if we haven't gotten other stuff that was good. The most recent movie based on the premiere episode of the anime was absolute garbage. But we got an OVA series recently that was based more closely on the video games that was really great. There were some OVAs based in the universe of the anime, which focused on other characters that were pretty good. The early Pokemon movies I still think are a lot of fun, and some of the newer ones can be fun too. It's not as if it's a lost cause, it's gone on too long at this point. I don't know. I do get the feeling, though, that this is going to be one of my more controversial recent videos, so we'll have to see. As per usual, though, guys, I'd like to know if you have seen the Pokemon anime, if you have any experience with it at all. What do you think of it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below, or over on my Discord. Link in the description. Either way, this has been my 2 cents on this topic. Stay tuned in a couple of weeks for part 3 where I talk about the Pokemon video games. Until then, though, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.